I'm in the middle of the biggest crisis of my adult life, and I can barely think. My wife went to Mexico last week for a friend's bachelorette party, and aside from the plane ticket, the hotel, and the first day's food and drinks, she didn't spend a penny all week. I mean, on the credit card. It's as clear as day that on Monday, up until about 9 p.m., she was buying dinner, stuff at the hotel shop, drinks at the bar, and souvenirs. And then at 9 p.m., she didn't spend another cent the entire week until she was at her layover airport in Dallas. She says it's because her friend took over and paid for everything. I guess this is plausible, but it's still giving me a funny feeling. What's worse is that my wife posts her entire life on social media, mostly Instagram. If she does anything, from getting a latte to picking the kids up at school, she will post it either as a picture or as a story. The last thing she posted on Instagram was the trend of people jumping into their vacation from the airport. After that, her social media was blank. I was kind of keeping an eye on it because I was excited for her to go on the trip. And again, I guess it's plausible, but it gives me a funny feeling. When she got home, I said I couldn't wait to see all the pics she took, and she really blew me off and said she just didn't feel like taking pics that week. She's also been incredibly distant. Last night, she said she just felt like sleeping on the couch because the AC hits better. This is 100% true, but I swear I heard her talking on the phone in the middle of the night. When I got up to check on her, I accidentally tripped over the dog and made a huge racket. So when I got downstairs, she appeared to be asleep. I brought this up this morning and said I'm not accusing her of anything, but all this put together makes me feel uneasy. I wasn't trying to bait her or fight with her, just put my feelings on the table. She said you're a major darn idiot for bringing this up on her first day back at work. I said I wasn't trying to pry, just communicating with her. And she said your communication is prying, and I am not discussing this with you ever again. She then took the kids to summer camp and left. Am I the idiot for suspecting my wife of doing something awful at her friend's bachelorette week? Not the idiot. There's a lot of missing information here, but the fact that she won't discuss her vacation with you and even considers it prying when you ask about it is very strange. Sleeping on the couch is kind of the nail in the coffin for me. Call the rest of the boyfriends and husbands. Someone will know something. Pretty sure they're counting on you all not communicating. Dude, you feel something is off because something is certainly off. Listen to your gut. The way she handled this, every step, is a huge red flag, and she would be stupid not to see that herself. It seems like she wants to get caught. Like she really didn't think he'd notice the complete lack of money spent or a social media post. Sleeping on the couch after being gone a week, getting angry after you bring up the lack of post. Maybe it's all innocent on her part, but she's not acting like it. Update number 1. So I realized that her text probably synced to her iPad, so I just checked. It took me a while to figure out the passcode, but I did. There was a message at 9:15 the night she got to the resort from a number with no contact info that said, "Okay, I'll meet you in the lobby. Is the app you said Signal?" I looked up Signal, and it's kind of like WhatsApp. The iPad doesn't have Signal on it. I Googled the number that was texting the Signal thing, and it goes back to a real estate company in Florida. I checked it. I've already seen his pic, his Instagram, and his Facebook. I'm not ready to jump to cheating, but if so, he is never who you'd picture your wife cheating with. He's like 55, we're 32, and looks like a sleazy South Florida real estate guy, and his kids seem to be well into their 20s. My sister's coming over, and she's an insane internet sleuth, so we'll talk, and she can do her thing. I am numb, but she can do this. Signal is a messaging app where everything disappears. She's cheating on you, darn near sure of it. Besides the fact that she's sleeping on the couch, probably feeling guilty or uninterested in you, and she's getting mad at you for prying. Having Signal is a red flag in any relationship. Ask her other friends who were there at this bachelorette week what went down. They'll probably give you mixed stories or whatever. So, to be clear, your wife was directly communicating with a specific older man on an encrypted secret messaging app while on a trip and refuses to talk to you about anything that happened. Was this even a bachelorette party weekend? Sounds more like a cheater's getaway. 2 plus 2 equals 4, my guy. There were no possible good explanations for this. I'm so sorry, OP. Good luck with your divorce. Update number 2. She cheated. My sister was able to get lots of info from the real estate guy, and my wife denied it at first, but then admitted it. Sorry it took so long to update, but I'm numb. Have literally zero idea what to do now. My father's girlfriend is very active on social media. She usually makes at least 2 Instagram posts a day. I'm sure she's trying to become an influencer. Well, I don't care much for that. One thing I've noticed is that almost every picture she posts is photoshopped in some way. Sometimes she makes her waistline smaller. Other times she airbrushes her face. Sometimes she does both. I don't know how noticeable it is to others, but my husband and I can always tell. My birthday was this weekend. A few months ago, I had a baby, and I haven't had time to do much. So last week, my friends and family threw me a surprise party to celebrate both my birthday and my first year as a mom. I later made a post to Instagram thanking everyone, including several pictures from the party. A few hours later, my father called me to ask if I could add a picture featuring his girlfriend to the post I'd made. I was frustrated, but I deleted it and reposted it with a picture of me, my husband, our baby, my father, and his girlfriend. It was the only one I had of her at the party. Hours after that, his girlfriend sent me a photoshopped version of the picture and asked if I could replace the one I'd posted. She had changed her waistline, retouched everyone's faces, and whitened our teeth. I said no. While she's free to post whatever she wants on her socials, I don't want an obviously photoshopped picture on mine. She argued the picture I posted would clash with the ones on her page, and she didn't want her followers to see her like that. I reminded her that my account is private, and the only people who will see my post are friends and family who already know what she looks like. When she kept insisting, I told her that either she accepted the unedited picture or I'd remove it from the post entirely. My father wants me to humor her. He says it would take little to no effort on my part to replace the picture. I'm aware of that. I just don't want to do it. I didn't even want to include the picture in the first place. I only did it because they wanted me to. I'm busy this week and dealing with this has become very annoying. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's free to post whatever Photoshop version of reality she wants. But on yours, you can post the real photos with her thick waist and yellow teeth. It's your wall, not hers. It's private, so she doesn't have to worry about her followers seeing it, unless they're a handful of people who follow you both. She argued the picture I posted would clash with the ones on her page. Yeah, reality has a nasty habit of clashing with abject fantasy. Make sure you tag her. You already humored them by deleting your original post and featuring her. You're not obligated to post fake Photoshop versions of your family just because his girlfriend is trying to portray an inauthentic version of herself online. OP, your mistake here is giving in and posting the picture in the first place. If your dad wants her featured in pictures of the event, he can post them to his social media. It's not your job to further her influencer career. And honestly, if it's as bad as you describe, she won't succeed anyway. I would have a talk with your dad. Set some boundaries and guidelines now. My husband wanted me to make a reasonably difficult dish tonight that he absolutely cannot make himself. He's tried, but he screws it up every single time, and it always comes out terrible. He said, and I quote, "I will wash the dishes before dinner for you, so you don't have to worry about washing anything." There was literally nothing clean, as we both work full-time, and when I'm not working, I have our toddler in school, and he just doesn't do chores. I said, "Thank you, I appreciate that," and we moved on. 3:30 rolls around. I ask him to start the dishes because I needed to cook at 4. He goes to the sink and fills it up. Then he walks away to smoke a cigarette while the dishes soak. Literally a single cup and silverware. He returns and unloads the dish drainer, which has cutting boards and a single pizza pan. He then goes to take a 15-minute bathroom break. He comes out, washes probably 6 pieces of silverware and a cup, and then picks up the baby and stands in front of the fan. I'm still not overly angry at this point, and I just decided to start washing the dishes while he has the baby. I get through half the dishes and start cooking at the same time. He then puts the baby on the floor beside me and says he has to run out to his truck real quick. The baby starts screaming bloody murder and standing up using my legs as a steadier, so now I can't move at all without knocking her over. She's a breath holder, passing out spells, so I pick her up to calm her down and continue to wash the dishes, one-handed. I get them done. I then start working on chopping potatoes, one-handed, completely sideways, so I don't accidentally harm the baby, who's very clearly hungry at this point, 4:45, which is usually when I have dinner completed. This man comes back inside and sees me doing all this crap one-handed while holding a fussy child, and decides to take up what little counter space I have left to make himself a darn sandwich, saying that he felt like he was going to pass out. I'm dumbfounded at this point, like completely baffled, and I was honestly so stupefied that I couldn't even muster up the words to ask for help, because he literally saw me struggling intensely and did nothing but make himself a pre-game sandwich before dinner. He literally just stood back and watched me while loudly chewing his sandwich. I just stared back with my mouth open before I turned off the stove, stopped cutting everything up, and heated up our baby food. I'd already food prepped for her and started feeding her. When I was done feeding her solids, I began to nurse her, and when she got to sleep, I continued to sit there on the couch and scroll my phone. He had the nerve to ask me when I thought dinner would be done. I tell him I'm not making it, not after that's done. Not only did he not wash the dishes, but he watched me struggle while holding our baby, while washing the dishes, and chopping crap up for a dish he requested, and selfishly made himself a before dinner snack instead of helping me. He had dinner, in my opinion. He says, "Are you serious right now? I told you, I felt like I was going to pass the heck out." I didn't respond to him, so he stormed out of the house to go to work on his motorcycle. He's still giving me the cold shoulder. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and your frustration is definitely understandable. What I don't understand, and that's often the case in these situations, is why things went so far before you stopped it. I would have never started cooking until the dishes were done. When the baby needed attention, I would have stopped prep until he returned to watch the baby. Behavior like this will continue for as long as it's allowed. I keep wondering why women don't strike on all the extra work they're left with by their deadweight men. I stopped cleaning when I realized my ex would use different standards as an excuse to get out of it. I allowed things to get filthy, so we ended up having maid service almost the whole time. I refused to cook except with him, and I would not wash the toilet when he and his friends stood up and made a mess. Not my gunk to clean. Still, I was left with most of the work, but I made it as hard for him as possible to leave me with it. Sure, weaponized incompetence is all I see. The husband seems to be a lazy bum. If he was so hungry he was going to pass out, he wouldn't have been chain smoking and crapping. He also couldn't have eaten any earlier. Why do I have a dead bedroom? My brother, you're about to have a dead marriage. I'm sorry you're a married single mom. That's quite the mess. I am very thankful not to be in your shoes. I, female 31, have this 3-year-old golden shepherd named Dennis. Dennis had 4 owners before me, and all of them were terrible. He was actually in the shelter and scheduled to be put down before I adopted him. Since Dennis is considered a reactive dog, I've taken plenty of precautions with him. I keep him in a certain room when people who are not familiar with him come over. I take him on walks during the time of day when the least people are out, etc. So my neighbors recently got this new dog, a 6-month-old golden retriever female named Lily. Now, Lily's hyperactive, which is normal for her age, so I told my neighbors in advance that it would be best for them to keep her away from Dennis, given how he may interpret her hyperactivity as aggression. I've always warned them several times before this that Dennis is reactive when they've asked to pet him in the past. Last Friday, I was going to take Dennis for a walk. It was about 11 a.m., and my neighbors were unloading groceries from the car. Their front door was open, so Lily came running outside. I started telling my neighbors to grab her, and they called to her, but she noticed Dennis and me and came running at us. Dennis started lunging and barking at her, so I held his leash tight, but Lily got close and gave him a small bite. He bit her back extremely hard. It was quite scary because he latched onto her shoulder very strongly and began shaking his head and neck. It took me and my neighbors about 3 minutes to get Dennis off Lily. Dennis only latched on like this because my neighbors were screaming and hitting him, making him more reactive. Lily was pretty badly hurt and needed to go to the vet immediately. I hadn't spoken to my neighbors since yesterday when they approached me. They said Lily had to be hospitalized for an entire week and they want me to pay half the bill, about $3,000. I told them absolutely not, and that they were mainly to blame since they hit Dennis and let Lily approach him. We argued and they said they consider legal action. I honestly am so angry right now and have decided to find a lawyer myself, just in case they're serious. Some of my coworkers think I should just apologize because Dennis technically hospitalized Lily. They think I'm being a bit of an idiot. Not the idiot. You had previously informed your neighbors about the situation. You were on your own property. You warned your neighbors to get Lily when she ran out. I'll be honest, I think you showed great restraint towards neighbors who ran onto your property and started hitting and kicking your dog. I'm going against the grain. Everyone's the idiot here. They were irresponsible dog owners, leaving their door open and their puppy not crated or somewhere it couldn't get out. They're 90% at fault for being idiots. They're the idiots for beating Dennis. But knowing Dennis has issues, if you're refusing to muzzle him, then seeing that door open, knowing they have a puppy, you should have waited to walk him or asked if their dog was crated. So you are the idiot for that. All around a sad situation for the dogs because their humans are jerks. Yep, two idiots living next door to each other. If it was a child, and in the future it may as well be, nothing would matter except the muzzle. Usually I think the owner of unleashed dogs is to blame, but we all know that dogs can run away. OP knew they had a puppy that could be killed by their own dog. You have to be aware and consider your nearby area's dogs. OP's doing the bare minimum. They could have retreated to their home the moment that door opened. This is being unaware and irresponsible. I just hate everyone in this scenario. Reckless. Update. My doorbell camera captured most of it. It shows Dennis and me standing right in front of my porch on my private property and Lily running over to us. Dennis was lunging initially, but I held him tightly so he would calm down. I try to stand between Lily and Dennis, but she runs around me and bites him on the leg. Dennis then bites her on the shoulder and latches on. My neighbors then came running and started punching and kicking him. The whole ordeal lasted 2 minutes and 47 seconds. If need be, I'll take this footage to file my own police report if they want to escalate. Many people are wondering why Dennis wasn't wearing a muzzle, which I'll explain here so everyone can see it. Dennis had 4 owners before me. His second owner had him when he was between 4 months and 16 months. Because he would sometimes puppy bite, his second owner would put a muzzle on him. Since then, muzzles have been something that traumatizes him. Both the shelter and the trainer I'm working with recommend that I do not use any muzzle as it may cause him to regress.